Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So we'll take like 2 minutes here. Everyone retweet the space, jump in your Telegram and Discord communities. Let's reshare the space. Get as many people in here to learn about ArchAngel as we can. This project is total fire. I'm excited to hear about them. So, Blockchain Betty, is it just you tonight, or are we going to have some other dev members join in?
Yeah, so it will be me kind of taking point. And I already see a couple of our teammates in here, including Crypto Caddy, who will also be speaking with me. So
Awesome. All right, I invited Crypto Caddy up to speak. So by all means, when you can, pop up. How are you doing tonight?
And
I'm doing good. And it's Scott. So yeah, Ace is another story. But yeah, so let's give it another minute here. Let's share, get as many people in as we can. These spaces are always recorded, and then they go on our YouTube channel so that you can share with your community everything that you shared here tonight. So that's pretty fantastic.
that sounds amazing. I am for some reason as soon as I got into Twitter, everything started going through my earpiece. So I'm actually trying to figure out my technical settings. So I will be right back, but I'm excited and ready to talk about us.
Oh, I hear you. I had an issue with my phone the other day with Telegram. For some reason, whenever it went into a voice chat, it acted like a telephone call. I couldn't activate the speaker on the phone, and yeah, it was pretty frustrating. I had to end up turning off my Bluetooth, shutting my phone down, restarting it, and then it corrected itself. So hopefully you don't have to go
That
through all
may,
that.
yeah, that may be what I have to do, or I'll just take it like a call.
All good. Um, So while we're waiting on you to go ahead and get ready, I'll just go ahead and share a little bit about what this space is all about. So my name is Scott. I am the lead dev for Heroes Token. This is our way of introducing education into the community. We do it through, asking questions, having other projects come in and share what they're all about, allowing the community to ask questions. And there may be something that, the community picks up that are maybe too shy to come up and ask a question, but it's something they should be asking a project they're investing in. So we do this because we feel like there's a lot of great projects in the space. ArchAngel is included. That's why we have you on here. And we want to expose our community as well as everyone else to your project and give them a little bit of insight. So there you have it. All right.
so I guess while we're waiting for BCB there, Scott, I can go ahead and introduce myself real quick to everybody. Um, my name's Crypto Caddy. My real name's Frank. I would go by Crypto Caddy. I actually used to do a YouTube channel. That's how I kind of got started in the space and recognizing a need for education. And now I'm a project manager with a project that's in the ArchAngel ecosystem. And that's something that I'm very happy to talk with you guys about tonight. If you're not familiar with ArchAngel, it was founded just over a year ago. September 19th of 2021 was its launch date. And the fundamentals of what Arca was founded on is 100% community. And I know BCB, you're going to have a lot to talk about with that. So hopefully you're set back up there. And
I sure am. I'm just gonna take it like a phone call. So I hope everybody's doing well. My name is Blockchain Betty. I also answer to Betty or BCB. In the real world, my name is actually Jessica. So nice to meet you all. I am a moderator for ArchAngel. It's kind of the project I was birthed into in crypto about a year ago, which was it was a really good project. And so with the community, I started and I didn't like most people, I didn't know much. So the community was really my source, and it was such a great community at that. Everybody from like community members to devs, everybody would send me educational information. If they were having a conversation and I didn't quite understand, I would ask, and anybody would hop in and just, take the time to explain it to me. So most of what I know about crypto actually comes from the ArchAngel community, and it's a great community at that.
That's fantastic. So, yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I remember when you guys launched last December or September. I believe I had gotten in on that at that time. And it was very exciting, but it was a different space than what we're in now, right? Things
Yes.
have changed quite a bit. But yeah, that's fantastic. So let's start with what made you guys want to create a project and launch it and come into this space?
Well, I will say, you know what? I don't know if Caddy would like to share the story. He's been in a little bit longer, but I believe my understanding is that this project was like Heroes Token was actually birthed out of rug pools. It was birthed, I believe, out of specifically a BSI rug pool, and a bunch of people came together and they were fed up and they wanted to provide a space that is um, that aimed for better. So that's how ArchAngel was started.
Yeah, so with that, you're right on there, DCD. Back around the last week of August in 21, some things happened with another project, and you're right on that one. And a lot of people were fed up, and they had their vision, and they still wanted to proceed with that vision. And a ton of community members back then just came together, and everything at that point, it went from conception to live within 3 weeks based off of pure community voting. And that started on day one of that project, and everything was taken to a community vote in the direction that it was heading. So the community aspect, it is truly owned by everybody. There's no specific devs. We're technically all developers because we're all part of the token or part of the project. And that was the great thing about it. And there's been so many awesome people through there through this whole time.
Exactly. And yeah, sorry. I just wanted to mention that was one of the reasons why my husband actually is the one who found this project, and that's why he introduced me to it. Was because it's a community voice. It's you have an option. You're heard, and anybody who's ever willing to help out is it's always welcomed. All of our team is 100% volunteer. Nobody takes a paycheck. And what's amazing about that is that you see this passion in these conversations between our team members and community members that I don't get necessarily in other chats, which is just beautiful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So when you launched, it was a result of some bad experiences in the space, and you came together with your community and you decided to launch ArchAngel. What is different today from when you initially launched? Because I know you guys are building. I know a lot of projects are building during this time, and they're totally different than what they were when they launched. So can you go into detail of what you offered at launch as far as any kind of utility or anything along those lines, and what you have been building since? You there?
Yeah, sorry, there, Scott. Might ended up closing the chat by accident. So with that, the whole community when they started this, the vision that was going in was building and creating an ecosystem. And the initial utility that was brought to Arca was a staking pool. And amazingly enough, that's actually one of the strongest part of the utilities within ArchAngel in itself, is because it has a very unique staking model. And when we talk about the ecosystem, this is why they play a very beneficial role in the entire project. Is the staking pool is based off of a DOV model, or distribution of value. And what we mean by that is the ArchAngel ecosystem has internal and external projects. And internal projects, they're built by the community and developed into the ecosystem. So rather using resources within the ecosystem, but the best part is they give back to that staking pool. So currently, for example, with Guardian, that's part of the ecosystem. We provide tokens back to the staking pool for being part of that ecosystem. And with that, you don't only just get the community, you get the collaboration, the networking, the resources, everything that's coming together within the space. And as that ecosystem grows, imagine getting rewards from that staking pool, not just for one token or three or five, but 20, 30, 50, and all those projects in that ecosystem collaborating together, building in the space together. And, if we've all learned anything, that the space used to be so competitive, but collaboration is key. And that's what it's going to take to make a lot of projects successful in the space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I wanted to follow up with that too. I wanted to say that, I wasn't there in the beginning, but I know that the model that started with ARCA is still essentially what our model is now, which is, it's a space, a launch pad, an unofficial launch pad of sorts for projects who have like-minded teams and utilities like ours that is forward thinking, trying to be flexible and adaptable with development as it comes up. And we really want to look for utilities that kind of help bridge the real world with the crypto world, if not make it easier for investors who are new to crypto, if not, educate and prepare them. And so and I think a lot of that, which I essentially is mass adoption, right? That's our main goal, is mass adoption. And I think all of that really stems from this community. So that's when Caddy joked that I'll have a lot to talk about that. That's like, our community presence means more than just, people chatting in the chat. It's so much more than that. Like, we genuinely are a community, and everything that stems from what we do, I think, comes back to that community aspect.
No, that's great. So, yeah, and I think that's important, and especially now, because what the space that we're in now, you've seen, the people that didn't really understand crypto, that maybe have been new, they got in at the peak of the last bull run, and they just lost a boatload of money and decided it's not for them, and they stepped away, right? And then you have,
Right.
the people that, maybe got in at a good point or came in after that and are still hanging in there and learning as we go. I personally believe that this is going to be mass adopted, very much like the internet was. I remember years ago when the internet was very new and people were afraid. And what the story behind my username on Twitter is just exactly that. It was, I was afraid to put my own name on an AOL email account, so I created Ace Overkill as my username for my email account because I was unsure of the internet when, and this is back in the 90s. So, I
Right.
think that's where we are with crypto right now. And the more that we can educate and the more that we can get the community involved and, just sharing little bits and pieces with them is just huge, because they're going to be the people that are going to be just sharing when the next bull run comes and we have a whole bunch of new people coming into the space. And it's what's needed is education. It's, getting away from the whole pump and dump idea, or, showing people how to find out, how to read a rug pull or a honeypot, those things that caught me, and burned myself. So yeah, I think that's definitely needed. So you guys had talked about in space as well as in the real world utility. Can you go into more detail about that?
Yeah. So, and Caddy might also have more to say on this. We currently right now as a team are actively looking for things that exist in the real world that could also exist in the crypto space, or trying to figure out a bridge to bridge those areas. And we're trying to find these utilities that aren't already existing. You know what I mean? There's some concepts that are now starting to become, slightly over diluted. I would say, or there's restrictions that we can run into. I know that we can't say too much just because we really don't want to comment on anything a little too soon. But essentially, anything that we can do to make it easier to adapt crypto to the real world, I guess.
So yeah, with that, we can't, like you said, DC, we can't really talk too much about it because we do got a lot of things in the works, and it's the discovery phases right now. We're out there seeing how things can be tied together and have checklists that the entire community, especially with the moderators and the people really close to ARCA, is peeling through a lot of different things right now and looking for those opportunities that may not have been capitalized on yet. You were also dead on about, with there's certain utilities that have completely saturated the space. And with that, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just sends somebody down rabbit holes. They could be visiting 20 different sites, 30 different places. And that's what we recognize is we're trying to make this as simple and kind of take what you do in the real world and how can you attach blockchain and digital assets to that and be able to touch someone's senses with the familiarities of what they deal with in a daily world. Is that a good way of putting it, BCB?
Yes, exactly.
Well, and that's kind of the goal, isn't it? I mean, that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to build. I think, this space has, and with a lot of the projects in this space, they are focusing on in this space, right? So, it's really not incorporating mass adoption. It is focusing on an existing, you know, I guess, existing population that are already here, and how are they going to get those people to come over to them, right?
Exactly.
And I think with what you guys are saying, I mean, we have been working on the exact same thing, not really tying them together yet. But like you guys, we're always working behind the scenes, and in meetings and just trying to see how far we can develop it. But our apparition line that we are producing is a real world product that has nothing to do with crypto. It's marketed solely outside of crypto, and the idea there is to get people looking at who is creating this and bring them in for a conversation about crypto, and allowing us to
Exactly.
be those voices to just tell them, hey, don't ever listen to a team that says hodl. Don't ever, hold because they're telling you to. Don't buy in because, someone says do it, right? Do your research, find out what the project is all about and look at it as a long-term investment, not I'm going to get rich if I buy today and tomorrow I'll be able to quadruple my money, right? That's not the way to look at it. Now, in a bull run, it happens, right? I mean, and we've all been there. We've all taken advantage of those situations. But, in this space now, this is, and I've been preaching this is, it's time to accumulate. If you've got extra funds, this is the time to look at those, projects that are building, that are doing, the great things that you guys are doing, and really diving in, talking to the team, asking in your Telegram and your Discord. Do you have a Discord?
We do.
Okay. Yeah. And, asking the team questions and, making sure that you're getting behind a project that's going to continue to build. And I fully believe, I mean, especially being a year or over a year old in this space, I mean, that's massive. I mean, how many projects launch and within 3 months are dead, right?
Exactly.
Not counting the bear market.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So Yeah, so I mean, I think looking at ArchAngel and what you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic, and I love the idea that you're looking outside of this space to figure out a way to incorporate it and bring people in. I don't think enough
Exactly.
projects are doing that. Yeah, that is
Yeah, I
awesome.
mean, if you think, I mean, so our PM is the one, our project manager Joe is the one who actually like kind of put the bug in my head that, there's out of the whole world population, I'm sure it's more now, but they've said over the years, 4 to 6% of the world population is in crypto. Well, that means a 94% of the world population are not into crypto, and that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that is not in the space. That's a lot of people and interest that are not in the space yet. And so the more we can try to reach those people, the better it'll be for everyone. At least that's how we look at it.
And you're 100% right. And with where we got to in the last bull run, with big banks and corporations actually coming into this space, I think the next one is just going to go well beyond where the overall market cap was. And that means that every coin or token, you guys are paired with Ethereum, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, just Ethereum going up and hitting an all-time high is going to affect your overall, value for your tokens, and
exactly.
that's just bullish for everybody. So no, that's great. Okay, so we have real-world utility that's getting worked on to incorporate into crypto, and what else are you guys working on?
So as a community, we have a few side initiatives. We have like a separate shill squad that we work to, we don't, while marketing is essential and we are very aware of that, we also acknowledge the presence of shilling. Like it's like there's people, there's thousands of holders, and if everybody can try and get out as much as possible and say what they can through word of mouth or other aspects hitting socials, we want to encourage that as much as possible. So we have our own shill squad. One of the initiatives that I'm really proud of is ArchAngels, which I co-founded with a few other women in our group. And it's a like you said, there's a lot of people in the space that are too timid to even ask questions. And I feel like, women as a population kind of tend to be more on that side of too timid to ask questions. And so our big initiative is trying to put out as much educational information as we can so that maybe you don't have to ask. And honestly, some of the stuff that we've put out, I've seen even the most seasoned of people learn something new on a very, what would otherwise seem as a basic concept. So we really want to educate and prepare and provide a space for women within our project and outside of our project. Any female is welcome in our group. I also want to say I pinned a message at the top for everybody that has kind of a bullet point of our project, I would say, that also has links to our website and our Telegram as well. Another thing we do is we have a charity project. So we have a group of volunteers that's a combination of team members and community members. And we work together to come up with a large list of potential charities to donate to. And we kind of look through, we grade them, I guess, we use the charity navigators and whatnot to help us kind of find good, legitimate projects. And then once we have it down to a manageable list, we put it to our community and everybody gets to vote on what we do. Our last donation was actually to the water project, which was able to build a water infrastructure for access to healthy long-term water for the Tardy community in Sierra Leone, which was cool because we've been getting periodic updates with pictures from everybody and progress reports of like how it's built and how it's been building their community. So it's so beautiful.
So that's a good point to bring up is the charity aspect of I'm sorry, ArchAngel token.
Exactly.
So yeah, so why don't we go into more detail about that? Do you guys how do you decide what charities you want to support, and you know, how much have you guys been able to contribute since you started?
So I'm not too sure on complete total numbers, but we have a portion of our taxes are set aside for charity donations, and we wait for it to build up to a certain amount that's that would be helpful, and then then the team assembles. um, and it's actually quite interesting because some of us have like our own specific projects that we've heard about or looked into that we, as volunteers will say, well, hey, how about this project? And the water project was actually one of mine. And then sometimes, we it goes off of our community. So I think the last time we did a charity donation was a few months ago, and I think it was like right after the natural disasters in Haiti, I believe. And so there were some people that were affected in our community wise, and so we looked at we actually researched specific charities that were actually actively working in those areas so that we were making sure that the money we were donating was actually going where we wanted it to go. So I kind of fibbed a little bit. Our last charity donation was not just to the water project. We did a split donation as well. And I don't have the documentation of what the name of the project was, but it's nice because it feels good to not just give, but to be able to try and help communities and areas where our specific community members are at and being affected by.
Yeah, 100%. I mean that's a strong belief that we have is we feel like there's enough money, especially in this space, even now that we can contribute a portion of it to various charitable organizations around the world, and my whole thought process is, I want to leave a better place for my kid when I'm gone, right? And
Exactly.
how can we do that? Well, one way that we feel is great is, by being able to contribute to these organizations that are benefiting others and making the world a better place. So that is absolutely awesome.
Exactly. And I mean, and it's unfortunate that in the world of charities that there are organizations that, in my experience through working with this charity group and learning these websites that allows you to kind of see I hate to say graded, but like a grade on the charity project is that the ones that you hear about, the ones that you see commercials for, they often are spending a lot of money on marketing, and not a lot of the money is actually getting donated where you want it to go to. And so that's like that honestly is probably the biggest part of our group is taking suggestions from the community, suggestions from within our own little volunteer group, and actively looking for charities that could help existing community members, and then researching those and finding like where is their money going, where is it actually helping people, or is it getting their name out more. So it's kind of tedious sometimes, but it's definitely worth it, and it really has shown me a lot in my personal life as well as like charities that I've donated to many times, and I'm like, oh, there's another charity that is actually my money would actually be going where I want it to go. And so it's unfortunate it's in the space, but hopefully we can all make that better.
Yeah, and being a community project like you guys are, and with what we do a very similar thing. We have our community poll for charitable donations, and I'm not going to be the one that says no, we're not going to donate to that project. It's totally up to the community, but I am the one that goes in, verifies that it is a legit charitable organization. And then I also dive into how much of the funds donated actually go to the cause, and I share that just so our community is educated when they're placing their vote on where they want to see the funds go.
Exactly.
And anything that doesn't, fly, or it's not, legitimate organization doesn't make the poll. If it
Right.
does, then I catch it, we pull it. But that's not happened yet. Everyone's been pretty good about that. But we've also not really branched out, right? I mean, we've had I think the furthest we branched was SOS Children's Villages, which is a worldwide organization. But really, the majority of our donations have been here in the U.S., and I'd love to see money go all over the world, right? And just be able to continue to do that, and
Right.
that's what I do really love that you guys are doing that. That is fantastic.
Yeah, I think outside of the water project, I know we've also donated to the hunger project, and I think we gave a portion to them as well, possibly on the last round as well. And you're right. Your process is very similar to for sure. Our little group of volunteers puts together the poll, and I think the last time we had like over 40 projects. That we were all that was suggested that we went into, and it's hard to know which ones. It's hard to know, but you're right. So we will provide our community members with the information that they need as well to make an informed decision, and get that list whittled down from 40 something to something more manageable for our community to be able to go through. But yeah, it's one of our fun initiatives for sure, and one that I
Yeah.
definitely enjoy volunteering with.
So with that, I did confirm that the water project, that was one of our bigger ones. We did 4 grand to them. And then we also did a chance to life, the hunger project, like you were saying, DCB, and then some other charitable donations. And it's been about $10,000 in the past 10 months with even through the bear market conditions right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
and sorry, I was just gonna say, the other thing we kind of have realized is that we do like to try and help out here in the U.S. as well, because we have a lot of community members here. We've also realized, like we realized actually in the end of the last one, instead of donating to one project, we could donate to multiple because, $4,000 in Africa is a lot different than $4,000 in the U.S. And so the various places that we've donated to, that dollar can go a little extra mile there, which, might be able to help a little extra people. Of course, we'd love to help everybody, though.
absolutely. That's fantastic. So I just, picked this up by going through your website when I was prepping for the space. And, I do know when you guys launched, you were definitely Ethereum. Were you guys also on Binance and Phantom at the time, or did you guys add those later on?
So those actually, we launched on Ethereum, and then in December, I believe it was December, when we migrated contracts, and later in the month, we launched on BSC and also Phantom. So yeah, you're 100% right there.
All right. Yeah, because I was like, I don't remember you guys being on other networks at the time, but yeah, it was a different time.
Yeah.
But no, that's great. So do you guys have a bridge between networks, or is it you have to, if you want to jump from one network to the other, you have to sell and then buy in the other network?
No, I believe it's with any swap. From the ArchAngel token website, you can find. I'm trying to dig here real quick because I have not actually done the Phantom or BSC myself. But the whole benefit of that was, when gas fees were being outrageous last fall. And for people that were looking to be able to get into ArchAngel and did not want to be able to spend the money on the gas fees on Ethereum, we wanted to be able to give them another option to where they could build up their bag for the staking pool. And then when it came time for staking, you can only stake with the Ethereum or the ERC20 token, but you could convert it at that point, pay a single gas fee to get it on Ethereum and get it ready for the staking pool.
Awesome. And that app is on your website, to the bridge?
I am trying to dig through and see where it's at. I believe that all the options, there it is. Yes. So you can find the Phantom, the BFD, um, and oh my goodness, I actually don't know exactly where that is at. Okay, one of my mods just sent it to me over in the chat. It is actually app.multichain.org.
I'm sorry, you broke up, at least for me.
Um, it is, I can't find the link on the website directly, but it can be done through app.multichain.org.
All right, app.multichain.org.
Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
No, that's good to know. And, and I'm with you there. That's why we added the Binance Smart Chain to our token and went dual network, is because of the gas fees. People wanted to jump in, and I get that. And even now, gas is a lot cheaper on Ethereum right now, but it's still a heck of a lot more than what it would be on the Binance Smart Chain. And Phantom, I can imagine, is even less. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, the goal was to give as much of a benefit to everybody across the world. To give everybody a very fair entry point as much as the project could expand to.
Yes, and I have in our community. Not corrected. I've been given more information. So we've donated to to go back to our charities. We've given to the Water Project, which builds water infrastructures around the world for places that don't have access to clean water. And we've given donated to A Chance in Life, which I believe is a place to help at-risk youth here in the States, and then Actions Against Hunger. So yes, I had to correct that.
That's awesome. So we kind of went over what you guys have been working on. Is there anything that we can expect coming that you can share? Or is that kind of all off the table?
I am not at liberty to discuss.
So one thing that we can talk about is the next staking pool. It opens in, I believe it's about approximately 40 days. And then
Yeah.
staking round 4 will begin. So that'll be open season for that. And best suggestion I can say is come hang out in the Telegram, pay attention to the announcements. As we're peeling through some things, there'll definitely be some updates coming out soon.
Yes, there is. I will say that there has been a fire in our team lately, and we are working hard. So there is a lot of conversation going on behind the scenes, and I know we say that a lot, but I mean, it is crazy. Sometimes I walk away for 20 minutes and come back and there's a couple hundred messages of just some mind-blowing ideas that honestly are over my head, but it is exciting, and we do have stuff coming out, and we are working hard for our community.
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to open up. If anyone would like to come up and ask a question, by all means, please do. And while we're waiting for any of the community to come up and ask questions, I will ask some of the basic ones that you should be asking every project. Is your contract announced?
So, I don't know if Caddy wants to take this one, but I'll say that it is not renounced because we want to allow room for flexibility in if we need to make changes that we can.
Exactly. And that's the one thing is when you renounce a contract, you're pretty much saying with the project, you found a closed-ended solution. You found the solution you set out and you're done with what you were trying to do. With that, it also leaves flexibility for a project to be able to scale and grow, and also some other things too, that there's other options that's available when you leave that door open to be able to kind of pivot and adjust as, time goes on.
Exactly. At the earlier I mentioned we want to be able to be adaptable to new developments, and that is one of the things that we can do to kind of help us leave some room for adaptability as needed.
That's great. And again, anybody can request to come up and speak. I'm just going to go on with some more basic questions here that I think everyone should know. So I do see that you guys have locked liquidity. How long do you have that locked for?
Caddy, do you know by chance?
I was going to say, if you can give me 1 second, I can go check on Team Finance real quick. I did not have that number ready because I know it was locked for at least a year. I want to say it is locked till December 5th, and they will renew the locks on those. Let me see.
Yes.
I got to figure out where.
All right.
Every
Well,
year on our anniversary. There we go.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and with locking the liquidity, that gives a sense of security for the people that are invested in your project. But you also have to keep in mind that the project may need to access liquidity funds to further development, or to maybe add another network, or who knows what. But
Exactly.
those funds, should be on a timely fashion. And that's my personal opinion, is that, as long as there's a plan in place, that, we know what's going on. If nothing's coming up and the end of the lock is coming, it should be renewed well before the lock unlocks, right? But if there's a plan to add another network, you have to access those funds to make sure that all your pools are equal. Otherwise, you see major arbitration between your different networks. So, no, that's awesome. Anybody would like to come up? I see, and I'll send a shout out here. We got, Charity's in the house. How you doing, Sato? Astro Verde, Nick. Hey, buddy. I saw Jessica in here earlier. Heroes Queen. Stacy, how you doing? Kira. And it looks like Ultra P.
Yes.
Nobody has. What's
Sorry
that?
there. Sorry, Ace. I just wanted to say too, on behalf of with the Arca community, Ultra, if you guys come over to the Discord, you'll most likely run into Ultra. Very great, very resourceful, awesome person in this community. He has been there since day one with that. We also have Sato, sir. How are you doing? He's been a longtime supporter of the Arca ecosystem too, and just a lot of support out here from the community. That's what it's all about, and it just shows the strength.
Yes. I also wanted to, something I don't think we've touched on yet is we are, and I don't know, maybe you were going to ask this anyways, Ace, but we are a deflationary token. It's worked into our tokenomics. And I know this is one of the questions you normally do ask. And so I wanted to touch on it as well, that we have a 6% tax, which I've been looking into projects, and it is hard to find those lower tax projects for sure. But so we're a 6% tax, 2% goes to reflections, and 2% gets burned with every buy and sell, and then 0% tax on transfers.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and I would encourage everybody to jump into their Telegram and Discord channels, ask questions. They're a very active community. I see Blockchain Betty all over the place in different Telegram chats, and she gets around. But that's good, and I'm always popping into different things as well. But the team is very active. So by all means, everybody check them out, join their Telegram. I think what we may do here, and it's probably, I don't know, which tweet do you like better at the top there, Betty?
So, I have either one really. I kind of wanted our DOV can be complicated. I know it took me a little bit to understand, and so I wanted to kind of have that visual up there. So that's what one of those are, and then the other one I really wanted everybody to have links to our socials. So I guess the first one, the one with our kind of bullet point and links to our Telegram and website, because you can find information on our DOV in really both of those areas.
All right, so we're gonna do this. We'll do a 24-hour thing here. I'd like everybody that listens to this space to like, retweet, follow ArchAngel, and make sure that you tag Heroes Token in a comment under there, and we will do a Twitter picker. Maybe we'll do it Saturday. And so we'll give you guys a couple days here to get in, share, get everyone involved. And the Twitter picker will give away one of our NFTs that will guarantee you a Genesis when we drop the League of the Lost. So
Awesome.
It'll be absolute fire. Yeah. And we don't do this, with Well, actually, we really don't do any giveaways on this space, but I am a very passionate about ArchAngel. I like the project. I like what you guys are doing. I like that you're very in line with what we're doing, and that just makes me so much more bullish on what you guys are doing. So I want to do this for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yesterday when I was kind of preparing for the space, I have looked into you guys, and I don't know kind of how, I guess I didn't fully read your first couple pages of your white paper. I just went straight to the meaty stuff. And so yesterday I really went through and read those first couple pages, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're just like there's so much commonality between us, between these projects. So thank you. That's very appreciative.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I get it. I wrote the white paper and it is very long.
Well, no, it's just that's how I am. Like my husband's good at reading the fine print. I'm like just skip to the meat.
No, I'm with you. But I like to be thorough too when I'm putting all the information out there. And, but when I'm researching, I like skim until I get to the good parts, right? And then I read. Um, so I'm
Right.
just like that. But no,
I'm
I
still
do.
I'm
Go
still
ahead.
kind of learning. So I have my bullet points of things that I'm like, oh my gosh, these are the three things I cannot forget to look at, is kind of so where I get a little focused, I think.
Yeah, and and that's the thing is, there's more than just three things, but everyone has
Right.
like the three things that are important to them, or the five things, or whatever it is. We wanted to make sure that and like your website is very informative. We wanted to
Mhm.
make sure as much information is out there as possible, and again, like I said, we don't normally do giveaways in this our live and in person, but I am personally a fan of ArchAngel, and I'd love to do this for you guys. So,
Yes, thank you.
absolutely. So, with that, I mean, is there anything that we missed? Because, I feel like I can be a little biased just because of the fact that I'm familiar with your project. So, it might have been something that I didn't ask that maybe you want to share with the community, or, did we touch on everything?
I feel like we touched on most things. I don't know if we went too in depth of our DOV or distribution of value. So I might touch on that for a moment. So in our main utility, we kind of talked about how our main utility is a project. Well, I describe it to many people as an unofficial launch pad looking for projects with mass adoption kind of mindsets. But the main utility of the token itself is our staking mechanism, which I know we kind of talked about a little bit, but it is different from most staking mechanisms. It's actually reward based. It's not APR or APY. It doesn't have anything to do with verifying blockchain data. It's just simply buy Archangel, stake Archangel, and get more Archangel in return. And so that is actually worked into our tokenomics. So a portion of our taxes actually goes back to the staking pool. Um, and then for within the ecosystem, the projects within our ecosystem, they also work it into their tokenomics to have a portion of their taxes feeding back to, if not Genesis contributions, back to the ARCA community as well. So essentially stake Archangel, buy Archangel, stake Archangel, and you'll get Archangel plus rewards from other projects in the ecosystem. So it's, I did, like I said, I kind of write educational stuff for Arca's Angels for our female population, but really for anybody who's looking to learn. And I did a staking series a couple months back, and I really don't know a lot of projects that do rewards based and receive rewards from other projects as well. So it's quite revolutionary from what I've seen. And actually, it's so unique that we were able to get a copyright on it. So that's one of our proud points for sure. If anybody has any questions on that, you can come into our main Telegram and I can share links to our fundamentals on Reddit. Actually, I created the name fundamentals just because it wasn't used yet. So if you go to Reddit and you type in fundamentals 101 and 102 and 103, you'll see some educational posts that I've put out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Absolutely. Great. Crypto Caddy, anything that you'd like to add?
Well, one thing I would like to mention is when we're talking about with the community with ArchAngel too, is something that the community came together and we developed and came to last November. So it's been just the 1 year anniversary for the Arca Cafe. And the Arca Cafe is just a bunch of us getting together on YouTube, usually every Sunday or every other Sunday. And we spend anywhere from 1 to 3 hours on there, talking about updates in the ecosystem and just kicking back and having a good time. So for those that don't use Telegram and are looking for another way to reach out to the project, don't hesitate to come over there, ask some questions in that chat as well.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention Cafe. Cafe is literally how I started and was introduced to Arca, was sitting back Sunday nights. We'd pop some popcorn and watch the new show. It really is, it's really that entertaining that sometimes it does go on for 3 hours and you're engaged. It's very they're very active with the live chat. So it's a really cool, well, now it's a cool show to be on, but yeah, so come join us sometime Sunday nights at 9 p.m. EST.
Yeah, and that
Awesome.
can be found on the ArchAngel YouTube channel too.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And what we'll do is, I know Low Voltage takes the recordings here and he puts it on our YouTube. We'll make sure he gets you guys a copy so you can share it if you want to.
Awesome.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So with that, I think we've covered a lot of information in this space. You must have done a fantastic job because nobody has any questions. So that's awesome. But yeah, why don't we get some closing statements?
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you with joining us. I've had a pleasure. You guys are a great following. I've been watching these Twitter Spaces. I've watched a few active and re-listened to a few recordings, and it definitely seems like you have a great community and a good following that likes to learn about new projects. So thank you for that opportunity for us.
Yeah, and for me, there's Scott. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say absolutely. And anytime, if you guys have new updates or whatnot, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to have you guys back.
Great. Gonna ask the same thing.
That's awesome because this is my second time on with you, Scott. I love your spaces. I love the personality. Very easy, hit very thorough, and always a good time. And definitely blessed to be here with you again.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you taking the time to join us and taking the time out of your Thursday night to be here and share your project with the community and allow us to learn a little bit more about ArchAngel. I mean, it's awesome. And, I appreciate your project. I appreciate what you guys are doing. And I think it's fantastic. But yeah, this is what we do. We do every Thursday night. We have a new project. Right now, we are booked through the first week of January for our Thursday night spaces, which means that there's going to be a new project on every week to find out all the details about them and learn more about it. I see Crypto Angel in space. She's with Guardian Platform. We had her on a few weeks ago. They did a fantastic job. We loved everything that they're doing and building. Charity Sato, we had Charity on. And, that's a fantastic project, and what they're building and evolving from what they were is absolutely amazing. So there's always new developments, and anytime you guys want to come back, by all means, reach out. We'd be more than happy to have you, and we can educate the communities together.
Great. Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch, and maybe soon. And that's awesome that you guys are booked out through January. That is awesome. I know we had to wait a little bit to get on this one, but that is good. That's great.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's gaining traction, so that's a good thing. You know, more projects are, you know, wanting to be on, so I'm excited about that. We'll have to get back to doing two a week.
Yep, collaboration over competition. That's what we say.
Yep, yep. So no, I do appreciate you guys coming. I appreciate everybody for taking the time out of their evening to listen. And we are here every Thursday night bringing in a new project. And next Thursday's special for our project, but you'll have to come to find out. So thank you guys, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Take care, guys.